Hey everybody, this is Mara Hoover here from The Mara Show. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm so excited. We've got such a fun and energetic guest here with me today. And The Mara Show is a show where I bring in people that specialize in personal development, business, and relationships. I love adding awesome, valuable content for my community, and so I go out, meet awesome different people, and bring them to you so you get a chance to get to know them better, learn more about what they do, and how they might be able to support you in your journey in life. So today I have Christopher Rausch here as my guest. I am so excited to have him. I'm going to read just a little bit about his bio, and then we'll get him on the show. Christopher is the creator. Oh wait, pause for a minute. I'm just going to tell everybody right now.
I am the creator.
This show is going to be rated for M for mature audiences. Warning, warning. There will be some language. Okay, now that I've said that, I'm going to introduce Chris. Christopher is the creator of the Kick-Ass Guide to Life, the complete guide to living your best personal and professional kick-ass life. He helps people overcome their self-created crap without the self-help fluffy beep BS. After a long series of events, Chris decided that he was no longer going to be a victim of his circumstances and changed the course of his life. He overhauled his belief system and seriously got down to business. As a result, he proudly earned a master's degree in organizational management, purchased 2 houses, and started his professional speaking and training career. And his favorite accomplishment is being married to the love of his life. Christopher, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mara. It's a great pleasure to be here.
I am just so excited for the conversation we are going to have, and thrilled to learn a little bit more about you and how you've developed your brand as the guy from the Kick-Ass Guide to Life. So can you tell us a little bit to start with about your story, maybe some of those pieces of the long series of events that brought you to where you are today?
Sure. Well, again, thanks a lot for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. And I guess the series of events, there's a certain day in your life when things change, and most of the time it's usually when you're older. And for me, on May 10th, 1982, I went from being a middle-class kid living here in Southern California with a mom, and just basically going from that to being a homeless 7th grade dropout living in the back seat of a station wagon for the next 4 years. And up until that point, I never knew my dad, and we grew up in Inglewood and had, a lot of different things going on. It was never a traditional family kind of setting. My mom was addicted to pain pills and alcohol and all sorts of stuff like that. So we became homeless for those 4 years, and it was all about survival. It was all about collecting cans and newspapers and all that stuff. But the kicker of all of it is that we brought along with us 18 cats and 4 dogs living with us in this 1969 country squire.
You said 18 cats and 4 dogs, plus you and mom in a station wagon.
Yeah. It was it was a big station wagon. During the 4 years, we were either living in the station wagon or living in a motel. Ouch, that tickled. Don't rip your earbud out. It was off and on. It was in the cars, in the motel. Sometimes the dogs were boarded. We wound up losing 2 pretty quick because they ran away. But yeah, it was hell. My mom really, really loved her animals, and she did not want to give them up. We could have went to an apartment after we lost the house. We could have done a bunch of stuff, but she would not give up on those animals. And the hierarchy in the household were the cats, or I should say the cats were first, the dogs were second, her cigarettes and beer were third, and then I was last. And I never say that necessarily for sympathy, but it's just a proven point that if you can go from all of that to now, like you said, I have a master's degree, I own 2 houses, I'm married to a beautiful girl, I've got a job where I've been at for 21 years. For me, it's all about the mindset and what you choose to focus on. I can go back into those times and think about that, but I wouldn't be the man I am today without having experienced, being in gangs and fights and stealing and drugs and alcohol and attempted suicide and all that stuff. I wouldn't be the man I am today. And the difference between me and other people is usually the people want to be that victim, which is my sister, who I don't talk to anymore, or you become a victor. And there's countless stories of people who have risen from the ashes.
Right. So at what point did you finally really, obviously you were just sharing a ton about your childhood and what you grew up with, and that started in 7th grade, lasted, it sounds like, into high school. At what point did you begin to make that shift where you decided, okay, I am not going to be the victim anymore, I'm ready to be the victor, and what were some of those pieces that went into helping you make that transition?
That's a really good question. Just a point of clarification, when I dropped out of the 7th grade, I never went back to school.
Oh, cool.
So I was a 7th grade dropout, and
with a master's degree.
With a master's degree, yes. I went back to continuation school when I was 18 and made it up in 6 weeks, and then got into school, and the rest is history, as we say. But in answer to your question, there was a point where we were living in this motel in Anaheim, and all sorts of prostitution and drugs going on. I tried to kill myself twice. I was working 2 jobs. My mom wasn't doing anything. And we were doing, me and my buddy that lived there were doing telemarketing out of this guy's apartment, which sounds creepy, but it was all for setting roofing appointments. And one time we went to work in Huntington Beach, and we walk in, and the guy says, "I've got some good news and I've got some bad news." And I was like, "Oh crap, here we go." And he goes, "Well, the bad news is I'm going to move the operation to Texas." He goes, "But the good news is I want to leave you guys my apartment, because I know you guys have been trying to save up a deposit for an apartment, and I know you guys are living in that motel, and that's kind of my gift to you. Unfortunately, you're going to lose your job, but you can gain a place to stay. That way I'll just leave it for you." And me and Robert looked at each other like, "Oh my God, this is awesome. Can you believe this? We can get out. We can live in Huntington Beach. We can, make a life for ourselves." And so I went back to the motel, and most kids that have been on the streets living there for 4 years, you would think you go back and tell your mom, "Hey mom, I got an opportunity to live in this apartment, and it's gonna be great," and da 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 da. And I was sweating bullets, because I knew in my heart of hearts she was going to hate me. And she was like, "I can't believe you're gonna leave me, and you're selfish, and you're self-centered, and what am I gonna do, and poor me, and da da da, and you're an asshole, and you're this, and you're that, and blah blah." You warned people.
Yeah, I did. I warned people.
Subject matter.
Rated M for mature.
Mature? Who's mature? Not me. So I went back there, and I told her that, and it was really her reaction to that, and I thought, and it was one of the poignant lessons I've learned, and as a speaker, as a coach, was it going to be me first or her first? Mm-hmm. And that night I sat on the steps of the motel, and I was looking at all the traffic going on, the prostitution, the drugs, the cars coming in, the fights, and I thought, if I don't take this opportunity, I'm going to end up like them. And I said, "Mom, I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to leave the motel, but I'm not going to leave you." And moved out, and we got a couple of roommates, but I went back to that motel every single night and helped her take care of the cats. She had the cats. She had probably 13 by now. I mean, she kept losing them. I have 13 cats living in this one motel room. Wow. So we had to hide them and have stuff up in the windows and all that other stuff. So every night I went back there and take care of them, because she had to get a job finally, which is cool, which is another part of the story. So when I took care of myself, that first part, that's where my life started changing. And the second part of that was I started surrounding myself around great people, and that's the second part of the equation to where I wound up today.
Got it. So at some point you said, "All right, I'm going to go back to school." That was one of those big decisions that you made, right? Where you said, "I'm going to go back, get my GED, and get into college." What was it? Just moving into the apartment that gave you that shift in perspective, or did you know that was the next step, or what kind of drove you in that direction?
My girlfriend's dad.
There you go.
Yeah, I was dating this girl, nice upper middle class girl. I had long hair, leather jacket, smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, smoking pot, and she brings me to her parents. She wants me to meet her parents, and it was the traditional. If anybody's seen the movie Valley Girl, it's like the petite girl and then the rocker guy, and he's like, "Well, you're gonna go back to school." And at that point, I thought, okay, school's over. I'm 17, almost 18 years old. There's no way. And I didn't know anything about a GED. And he says, "Well, you can get what's called a GED." And I said, "Well, I don't know what that is, but in order to keep this girl's dads happy," I went back and I found out about it, and I thought, okay, well, I'll enroll in this stupid thing and keep dating her and make everybody happy. And I got into it, and I took the placement test, and I was surprised to find out after dropping out of 7th grade and taking the high school equivalency exam, I only needed probably, they said 3 months between science and history and something else, which I had no idea about, and made it up in 6 weeks. I said, "I think I'm ready to take the test." And they said, "No, we don't think so." And I said, "I'm pretty sure I can take it." And I don't know why I said that. My mama used to always, my mama, I'm from the South, yay. No, my mom used to tell me that I tested with an IQ of 197 or some shit like that. And I took it and I passed. And so I was like, okay, cool, I got the GED. Good, made Dad happy, and now we can, continue on. And he's like, "Well, are you going to go to school? Are you going to go to college?" And I'm like, "Well, shit, jeez, I mean, dude, I just did that." And then I thought about it, and I thought, I did some retrospect, and I was like, okay, everybody that I know hasn't gone to school isn't very happy or successful. So I thought, why not? You know, and all these negative things kept going in my mind. I can't afford it. I'm not smart enough. I don't have time. All these excuses. And I said, let's put that aside. And I went to the enrollment office, and I said, let me sign up. And I could afford one class, which was, interestingly enough, an interpersonal communication class, which really changed my whole dynamic with people, and I love that. And I just met a lady recently who had the same experience, and I paid, you know, $13 for the unit and went and bought the book, and I was like, I'm a college student. And what's funny is I still have, I don't know if I should show you. This is kind of weird. This is, I don't know if anybody's ever showed you a trash can before, but I can't really tell if you can see it.
Oh yeah.
This is my.
I is a college student.
I as a college student. That was something. Somebody gave me that bumper sticker. Oops. That I just broke my.
I think you are the first person that's ever showed me a trash can on the Mara show. So.
Yay. So yeah, I went to school and I liked it. It was crazy. I'd get up in the morning. I'd go to the gym. I'd go to school. I'd go to work, and that was my routine. And then I would go back and take care of my mom, and that slowly lengthened out when I didn't have to take care of her, and she got stronger, which is, you know, part of codependency, where people sit there saying, oh, they'll never make it, and it's like you have to make it. But I don't want to get off on that subject. So yeah, that's how I got in, and I just started liking it, and I started growing at my job, and I got, you know, the job where I'm at today. And I do balance both the speaking and the day job, and yeah,
so
you know.
Let's fast forward to that, where you had this job, you've had it now for 21 years. I know you're really successful at it. You love what you do. And at the same time, you were also feeling like you were being called to more. What was that sort of was planted in you, and when did it start to grow to where you realized, all right, I have a message, I want to get out there and share it?
That is an awesome question. And it was 2008. I went to a funeral, and ouch, don't do that. My ears are going to be bleeding. 2008, I went to a funeral, unfortunately, and actually, I can't show you that, but actually her funeral thing, whatever you get, is still on my desk. She was a coworker of mine, and I knew her and I knew of her, but I didn't really know her, but of course, out of respect, we went there, and I was sitting in the back of the church, and I'm watching all these people get up there, and they're talking about what a great person she was, and how she did this, and how her heart was, and how she impacted, and person after person getting up there, and I thought to myself, if I died tomorrow, who would come and what would they say? And I thought, probably 10 people will show up and they'll be like, Chris was a smart ass, he was a party animal, he chased women, he loved cars, he loved music. I'm like, do I want to just be remembered for that? Mm-hmm. I want to be known that I was funny too. No. So I went home that night and I said, I'm going to write my eulogy. I had no idea what I was going to do, and I just sat down and I just started writing. You know, everything from my heart. I said, and I love to write, and I just and I wrote it out, and I said, okay, let me read it back, and I read it, I started reading it back, and I couldn't get halfway through, and this wet stuff started pouring out of my eyes, and I thought, holy crap, wow, you know, I'm not afraid to cry or, you know, any of that, but it was just like, wow. And the thing about it was I didn't, all the things I thought were important. I was trying to start a cover band, I was taking music lessons and all this other stuff. I thought I was gonna be this rock star. And I read it, and the gist of it was that I will have fought for what was right and what was fair. I will have risked for which that mattered, and I will have left the earth a better place for who I was and what I did. And it transformed me because I was doing speaking and I was coaching kids because I love to mentor at-risk kids. And I said, I'm not going to be a rock star. I suck at music, but I could take my message and get out on stage and rock people's minds. And that's when it changed, and I took it seriously. I started a company called Master Motivators the next day and have just been on the trajectory. And the interesting part was, at first I was a suit and tie speaker.
Right. You in the suit and tie. I just can't even picture it.
I'll show you one. It's dorky.
So you found a place at one point where you were really able to own your own brand and create a brand for yourself, and realize that your message was going to reach a certain type of people, and not what I would imagine as the tribe that you wanted to create anyway. So how did you make that transition from suit and tie speaker to Kick-Ass Guide to Life Guy?
That one was tough. I was pretty successful as a suit and tie speaker. My name was starting to get out there a lot more, getting speaking gigs, and I was at an event, and I was standing in the back of the room, and the guy didn't know I was one of the speakers. And he had said something, he goes, and it was a pitch fest. It was one of those dynamic things where everybody just gets up there and says the same thing and says, okay, here's my $1 million product that's going to save your life, and I'll give it to you for $9.99. Not that you've ever heard that before.
Oh, of course not.
And I said, he goes, if I have to hear another one of these damn speakers get up there and spew this crap, I'm going to shoot myself. And so I sat there and I said, what would you say if a guy came out in jeans and a T-shirt and just told you authentically what was going on and what you needed to do? What do you think about that? He goes, I would love it. I would find it so refreshing. I can't stand these things, da-da-da-da. And it was at that point where I just said, I came off stage one time and I'm like, I mean, wearing sleeves for me is a big deal. My wife knows that. I love shorts and cutoff shirts and flip-flops. And I was like, I don't want to be the suit and tie speaker anymore because you have to be all political and correct and say all the right things. And I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a mean guy, but I'm also let's center punch you in the forehead and get you to where you need to go now. Not 6 weeks from now, not 10 months from now. Let me say what I need to say in order for you to get on with your life and really embrace things that you need to do and have fun doing it. And
right.
just be crazy and just be you. I mean, we put this mask on when we go out in the morning. It's like, okay, I'm Joe Schmo and I have to wear the suit and tie and I have to be all these different things and all this fake stuff. And I said, I just want to be me. And so I joined a mastermind and I went there and I said, hey, I've got this idea. I've got this idea for the blue collar guide to life. I have all these guide to life. I have the heavy metal guide to life, the rock and roll guide to life, all these different series. And a guy named Larry Broughton, who's become a mentor of mine, he looked at me and I said, I want to do this blue collar thing. I want to go after, the blue collar segment of society and help them, build the backbone of America back up and go out there and speak to all these factory workers and get them empowered that they don't have to just sit by and watch their lives go away. And I thought he was going to tell me to go pound sand, and he looked at me and he goes, that's a great idea. He goes, we need that. And so it just kind of developed into just, part business, a little bit of party, a little bit of business, a little bit, and it just came out, and I absolutely love it. I just have a blast doing it.
And you really get to own it. I mean, when we met, we were both at an event with Sandra D. Robinson, and it was kind of like homing beacons where we both saw each other. We're like, that person is the real deal. We need to get to know each other. And next thing you know, we were fast friends within, I think it was the first night. Yep. And hung out that whole weekend. And that's what I love about you and what you bring to the table is that authenticity and ability to be yourself. And I feel like as more of us are stepping into that and really creating the space for other people to do the same thing, they're really going to be able to own their lives and do it their way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about you. So from there, you ended up developing the Kick-Ass Guide to Life. What is it that you cover in the Kick-Ass Guide to Life? What does someone need to do to have that kick-ass life?
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Awesome. And by drugs, you mean vitamins.
Yeah, actually, I've got papaya seeds. I've got drops. See, I'm healthy. Check it out. What's contained in the Kick-Ass Guide to Life? It's gone all over the place, to be honest with you, and that's part of being an entrepreneur is trying to find what it is that you love to do. I mean, I can speak about leadership and teamwork, management. My big thing is about attitude and mindset, because that's where everything begins. It's like, to be a great leader, you have to have a great mindset. To be in a personal relationship and be successful, I was coaching on personal relationships forever and professional relationships and communication, and I was all over the place. And I said, it's just all about the attitude. It's about what's going on up in here, and when we can change those agreements that we've made with ourselves from the point we were born until now, all we need to do is rewire those agreements and change that. So my focus now is really just helping people get out of their own way. Get out of the past, not be scared of the future, but just embrace the moment right now and embrace who we are, because today is all we have. We don't have yesterday. We don't have all the past crap. We don't have the future. We don't know what that is. But just to be in the moment today and to love who you are is such a rare commodity these days. But I see so many people with the pain behind their eyes saying, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm just, and that's my whole thing is just helping people embrace their authentic self and have a kick-ass life.
So when you talk about agreements that people have made with themselves, I use that a lot when I talk about money and the idea of our money soundtrack. And basically it's what stories, the way that I interpret it is what stories are we choosing to tell ourselves about ourselves. So what agreements do you come across most that you notice your clients or your audience are really looking to overcome? Because what I've seen is for a lot of people, they don't even realize they've made agreements. So it's first of all bringing that awareness, and then, so what are you kind of seeing in the marketplace as some of the things that people are needing to work past?
One of them is how they look. And, mostly it has to do with weight And the connotations and I guess the negative assumptions that people have made about them, oh, you're always going to be fat, or you're always going to be this. And so people come to me like, I just want to be pretty. I want to feel pretty. I want to feel good looking. And I tell people, I don't care if you've got the ugliest glasses and zits and all that, you're still a beautiful person. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people go and they've changed from not having that confidence to believing, when you cut us open, we're all the same. No matter if you're black, white, Indian, Asian, whatever you are, pretty, ugly, whatever you are, fat, skinny, you cut us all open, we all got the same thing, we're all the same people. And watching people embrace that. But the big thing really is that under that is that I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. I'm not good enough to get the right job. I'm not good enough to get the right person. I'm not good enough to make the right money. I'm not good enough to be happy. I don't deserve to be happy because somebody died when they were 2 years old. I don't deserve to be happy because of this. And just changing that agreement that, yeah, you do. It doesn't matter what anybody told you. It's about where you're at today and what you want for tomorrow.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's life-changing stuff right there. So how do you work with your clients then? Do people work with you, well, besides beating them up? Do you do a lot of one-on-one group coaching, teleseminars? I mean, what is the structure of your business really getting this message out there?
Honestly, right now it's through speaking. I do very little coaching because I found over the years people say they want help and say they want to change, and I'm a very direct person. I mean, I call it my meter. I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolute, how bad do you want to change whatever it is you're asking me about? If somebody tells me like 9 or 10, I'll take them on as a coaching client because I know that their pain versus pleasure threshold is done. They can't take anymore. They're willing to pay whatever it takes to be told whatever they need to be told, to do whatever they need to do to change it. So it's very seldom I do personal coaching. I like to do group coaching, and I like to do teleseminars. I like to do professional speaking, whether it's in somebody's organization or holding my own events. And the biggest thing that I'm focusing on right now, honestly, is it's not even about money or prestige and everything. And you know this about me. I took a step back from what I call the machine, which is the public speaking and the coaching and the whole seminar business, and said, okay, I got caught up in, okay, what are you doing today? And do you have your book done? Do you have this done? Do you have that done? Do you have to, and I've got a lot of stuff done. And I thought, I don't want to get caught up in that machine. I don't want it to be a job. I don't want it to be something that I have to do versus I get to do versus I want to do.
Right.
But I like to speak to kids. I like to speak to at-risk kids between the ages of 13 and 18, a little bit older, and just help them realize what I had to realize as a kid, because they're still malleable. There's still time to tell those kids, hey, listen, just because you've been on the streets, just because you've been in gangs, I'm exactly like you, and I turned out this way because I made choices, and I made tough choices, and I made sacrifices, and I didn't go to parties and do all that stuff. I mean, I went to school from 18 to 31, and I just recently got the opportunity to speak for San Bernardino University for their foster kids program, and fortunately it wasn't little kids because I say kick-ass, but it's on my YouTube page, and my wife and her mother were talking, and we saw it, and they said, that was probably one of your best speeches ever, and it was just me being raw and helping these kids. And I've actually been trying to figure out, okay, how can I turn that into a marketable business where parents have kids that aren't listening, and okay, here's a guy that's walked it and been there and done that, and he can tell you if you don't do it. But yeah, so I mean, that's you're moving.
Yeah, that's I have a little dog that just tried to sneak into my filming zone.
We have an earthquake.
You're not supposed to tell people what's going on behind the curtain. The video was on you. Nobody knew.
The video's on me? Oh. Yeah. I can see you.
You're the star. No, I'm just playing with you. All right, so speaking to kids, and one of the things I wanted to address is, I think at one point when we were talking, you were thinking maybe you were going to move away from your full-time job and do speaking full-time, and I think the last conversations that we've had, I've picked up on the fact that you like your job, and you're probably going to keep it and be able to speak. And I think there's a lot of people that I work with that are kind of in that place of they feel like they have to become entrepreneurs or they should become entrepreneurs, and they're supposed to get away from the J-O-B. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because I think for a lot of people, the J-O-B is great, as long as they can also live their passion and not have those agreements that have been made with their jobs.
Yep. No, that's a really good question. It's we got the wantrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs.
The wantrepreneurs.
And it's funny because I've got a really dear friend of mine who quit her day job. Everybody was telling her it's that machine. Oh, you can do it. You can make it. You're awesome. You got this. I mean, she got one little piece of success, and it was like, oh, you should jump and you should do it. And she quit a very successful 6-figure job with health benefits, and went out on her own and has not done very well.
Oh.
And she's like, you know, I don't have medical insurance, I can't do the Obamacare, you know, I have to have some procedures done. And because I tell people you can do both. You know, it's not one or the other. And a lot of people out there will sit there and say, well, if you're serious about it, you'll cut the tie. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Burn the ships.
Yeah, you get to a point where you do have to do that. Yeah. But when you're building your business and building your clientele, there's no shame in saying, hey, I'm doing it out of my home. There's no shame in saying, hey, I work a full-time job, but I'm doing this also, because I've had more people give me respect than they've given me crap and be like, oh, he's not taking it serious, he still has a day job. No, I actually like, you know, being employed and having a steady paycheck and building, you know, slowly building that. That overnight success is crap. You know, people say you're an overnight success. Well, it took me 21 years to get there.
Right.
You know, so I tell people, have faith in yourself, and if it's a burning passion, if it's in your eulogy and you want to be remembered for that, you know, make sure that's a priority and take care of your responsibilities, but also go after that dream, because to stay in a job is miserable. And I'm very appreciative of what I have, but I love being in front of people and speaking and watching that aha on their face going, oh, I'm the one that's the problem here, not my parents, not my teachers, not society, not the government, not my religion, not the commercials. Oh, I'm the one. Because so many people blame. I mean, the society and the blame that's going on. Well, you don't understand, Chris. I'm screwed up because my uncle touched me when I was 4. I'm sorry your uncle touched you. That's horrible. He should be shot in the nuts and been fed to him. But that's how many, 20, 40 years later? Let's be here today and let's see what we can do. And I'm all about the why. When you find a big enough why, you find a big enough how. And I've transformed people from being assaulted as kids and not being able to get over it to saying, okay, why don't you go volunteer and help little girls and kids that are going through that now, and don't let that be for nothing, because everything happens for a reason. That's my big thing. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. And you'd either stay in that victim or the victor mindset.
I love that. It's such a great perspective to just start to look at it differently and figure out how you can get outside of that box and really use everything that's happened in your life and figure out how you can make it so that it has a reason instead of letting it be what controls you.
Absolutely.
All right, so you've got a cool gift to give away. So here at the Mara Show, what we do is when I bring on guests, our guests give something away for free. So if you want to head over to themarashow.com/archives, you're going to be able to see all of our past guests as well as this interview. And there's an easy button right underneath. Wait, hold those dollars out. I'll be right back, Chris. I want to show everybody what you're giving away. There's going to be a button that you're going to be able to click to take Chris up on his free offer. So now I'm coming back to you. What are you giving away? Money! No. Money. But it's better than money.
I'm giving away money. What am I giving away? Am I giving away an all expenses paid trip to see me? Yeah, I'm actually giving what?
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I said I was going to give away because
you were going to give away a 30-minute coaching call and access to your upcoming webinar, How to Live an Authentic Kick-Ass Life.
Thank you. That's awesome. And actually, just because I'm feeling just super generous right now, a half an hour is not enough. Half an hour is not enough. And because I love you and you're awesome, and I know the people watching are awesome, I will do not even 45. Let's do an hour. Okay. Anybody who wants to take me up, hit me up. I will talk to you for an hour. No strings attached. I promise I won't even try to sell you anything. I will just say what it is that you want to overcome, and it could take 10 minutes or it could take the full hour. That's my gift, and I promise there will be no selling.
Okay, cool. I hate that. So you hate those, huh? All right, so let me just make that really clear for everybody. So you're going to go to themarashow.com, find the archive video with Christopher. Right underneath, there's going to be a button that's going to take you to his website. On the website, you can click the Contact Me form and just fill out your information, and that is going to give you immediate access to schedule your 1-hour free session with Christopher, which is an incredible offer. So I highly encourage that you take him up on that and really just get to know him, understand what he specializes in, and if there's something that you need to overcome and you need a good kick in the you-know-what, he's your guy for sure. So as we wrap up, Christopher, I wanted to talk just a little bit about the concept of mastermind and mentorship, because those are two things that you've mentioned throughout this interview. And how has that really served you in developing your business, becoming the authentic you, and really beginning to get your message out there?
Huge, huge, astronomical. Oh my God. Let me just tell you, I was sitting at an event, and the guy made his pitch, And he says, "Oh, it's $4.95 to come." And I was just sitting there, and I had this lack mentality, and I thought, I can't afford $4.95. I should put that on my credit card, or I need to pay my credit cards down. I can do it my own way, and da da da. I finally said, "You know what, Chris? I'm my own best coach, my own best client." And I thought, Chris, if it's $4.99, if you can't make $500 doing what you absolutely love to do by going to this 4-day event and getting all this material, then you're an idiot and you shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I made out the check and I handed it to him, and I said, "Okay, great." Went to the event, and he comes out and he says, "Oh, I've got this mastermind, and it's a lot of money." I'm not going to say it on air, but it was a lot of money. And again, I sat there and I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't afford that." And my wife was with me. And this is the side story. She was with me. She always thought this was a hobby, and then she's up here watching these people. She's like, "You can make money doing this, I'm like, "Yeah, I love doing it." And you could also my whole thing is about personal freedom. No, I don't need to make a lot of money, but I want personal freedom. And again, I said, if I can't make X amount plus $1, then I shouldn't be doing it. You have to take risks. And I wrote the check. And Mara, I tell you, I got around some incredible people. You've met some of them. Mm-hmm. When you have a community of people who care about you and aren't afraid to tell you the truth. We have all of our friends like, "Okay, Chris, how's your radio show?" Or I ask people, I say, how's my radio show? "Oh my God, it's great, it's awesome." "Okay, what was last week about?" "What was the one before that about?" How do you know it's awesome? People just want to make you feel good. But you get in a mastermind, or you get a mentor, and you say, "What do you think? Where can I grow?" And it's not criticism, it's constructive feedback, I call it. And it changed. It has blossomed. I have an amazing group of friends that I see 3 times a year. I go to 2 events a year, and I see them all. And it's changed my life. I have a professional website now. I have all sorts of professional things. I have a coach. Everything. It just changes, and your success catapults. I'm a lone wolf. I could do it myself, but when you get people, professionals like yourself, myself, quality people, that's when your success changes.
I've had that same experience, really having the mastermind, getting to meet people like you, and just starting to expand that network. So I would encourage everybody who's watching today, either live or on the archive, that if there is, something that you really want to accomplish in your life, find someone who's done that and consider joining a mastermind or becoming part of a mentorship or coaching program that's going to help you take your life to the next level, so that years from now, when someone is reading that eulogy like what Christopher was talking about, that you know that you accomplished everything that you wanted to while you were here on this planet. That's what it's all about.
Big time.
Christopher, thank you so much for being here today. Again, I just want to let everybody know that you can head over to themarashow.com. Right underneath the archive video of this interview, you're going to have the link to take you to Christopher's website. Just click the Contact Me button and send him an email. He will schedule that 60-minute free strategy and coaching session to help you overcome something in your life. I want to thank you for joining us today on The Mara Show. We broadcast live every Wednesday at 11 a.m., bringing you guests in the area of personal development, business, and relationships. Always amazing guests. I want to thank you, Christopher, for joining us. And do you have any final thoughts, a book that you've read lately, or a quote, or something that you'd like to share?
My quote: "You're only limited by the parameters of your own mind." You're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. If you take that and embrace it and love it and cherish it and make it happen, you're the only person that's holding you back. That's it. No excuses. Thank you, Mara. I love you, sweetheart.
I love you, too. I couldn't say it any better, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Christopher, for being our guest. And we will see all of our viewers next week, 11 a.m. Pacific. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.